Tonight, on a brand new edition of Interview Central, we sit down with NASCAR WHELEN Modified Tour driver Woody Pitkat to discuss his running at Thompson Speedway and his outlook on the season ahead for him. We'll also have our rapid fire session and a few off-topic questions. That is all next, live on Interview Central. Well, Woody, how are you doing tonight on this fine Wednesday evening?
Doing good. Getting ready for Stafford for the Sizzler, but we're doing good.
Well, first off, congrats on the pole at Thompson Speedway. Can you describe your emotions after the fast lap, and how much confidence did that give you heading into the race?
Yeah, thanks. We tested there, prior to the icebreaker, and we were really good. I felt like we gelled really quick, and to go there, and to be as fast as we were in practice, I felt like we maybe, had a little bit of an advantage on, some of those guys because we practiced, and we were really fast in practice, and then just going out for time trials, I was trying not to overthink it. I kind of do that a lot. I listen to people trying to tell me what to do and trying to watch other cars, time trial before you go out. I just think I kind of overthink it sometimes. So I knew I had a really good car. I was confident enough to know that I had a good car in practice, and the week before that when we practiced. So I tried to just get everything out of my mind there and just go out there and lay down a lap, and fortunate enough to go out there and do pretty good. We were a little bit off of the adjustments that we made for the time trial lap, but all in all, it was good, and it worked to cut us the pole, and that was it.
Now, as most people know, you finished second at Thompson. How frustrating was it to not score the victory after having the dominant machine of the race?
It was pretty frustrating because I haven't won on the tour yet. I've told everybody, and I think I've said a little bit more this year, I feel like I haven't really proven myself on the tour yet with running up front, running with the Cobies and Priestes and Silks and all those guys that I kind of look up to and hang out with and friends with. I feel like I probably haven't had the greatest opportunities. I've had, good equipment with the Hills and Don King and everything. I just think that we haven't ever had everything as a package, and that's what it takes. It takes good driver, good team, good equipment, good motor, good everything. It's not just one piece of the puzzle. It's everything, and I think now I think that's what we have. We have everything. We're clicking, and I was frustrated, but in time trials, when I got the pole there, we were just sitting there kind of biting my nails, hoping that I was going to keep it up there. My crew chief Spot said, this is our worst track, so no matter where we finish, for our time, even if we're third, fourth, or fifth, this is our worst track. So he would have been happy with that. And going into that race, I don't think they had finished an icebreaker event, so I don't think there was huge pressure. But to go out there and be as fast as we were all weekend, obviously, you wanted to go out there and finish with a win. We just kind of made the wrong adjustment there in the pit stop that kind of hurt us, and Justin made the right adjustment that made him a little bit better. So, I was pretty frustrated, but thinking big picture, I couldn't really be that frustrated. It was a great weekend. We proved that we could run up front with those guys. We could prove that we have a car that can win races, and we're going to just keep battling week in, week out, and hopefully we can do that every week. I think that we should have no problem doing that every week, to be able to go out there and time trial on top 5 every week and run up front, and hopefully we'll get our win pretty soon and maybe be able to contend for the championship.
Now, what positives can you take from the event at Thompson, and how can you utilize that heading into the rest of the season?
Well, there was a lot of things. I think the pit stop went really well. I don't think those guys have practiced pit stops like some of those guys, the top modified teams that do that. So I was really happy with that. Obviously we will work on that, but I thought that was maybe would have been our only downfall of the whole weekend. Just getting used to the car, getting used to the guys and the car and what we need to make for adjustments, getting used to spotting everybody. It's been awesome. I went up there, over the winter up to the race shop to kind of foresee what was going on and overlook and see how they maintain the cars and prepare the cars and everything. And everything went really well. We went snowmobiling a couple times and just had a good time. And that's the biggest thing, that too, is you want to go to the racetrack and have fun. Buzz and everybody and every car owner and sponsor and everybody is spending so much money, to go there, and we ain't making any money at it. And I'm just fortunate enough to just sit behind the wheel and go out there and do what I love to do week in and week out and race. And, so you want to be able to go there and run good, obviously, but you want to have fun at it, too. You don't want to be going there and have everybody bickering and be mad and stuff like that. So, the biggest, I just think that we like each other. We have, we just gelled really good so far, and, the big positive is that we ran up front. We ran good. Everybody knew that we were there, and if that, like he said, if that was our worst track, then I think that we're going to be, a real threat everywhere else. I know we'll be real good at Stafford. They've had good setups there, and I race there weekly, so I know we'll be good there. And we just try to get a good finish there and just keep building confidence and keep going on.
Now, you kind of alluded to this earlier, but you've competed in 79 NASCAR WHELEN Modified Tour races. How much does it loom on you that you haven't witnessed victory lane yet?
I mean, yeah, it bothers me, just knowing that I haven't done it. I've been close. I was real close at the fall final 1 year at Stafford. Kind of thought I had it. We dominated the whole race, and my future brother-in-law actually passed me with 6 laps to go. We had a power steering mechanical problem. It was about 20 laps to go, and I thought I was going to be able to baby at home, but it just wasn't meant to be, obviously. And we were close at Loudon 1 year, finished second there, a place where I feel like I've struggled and not really ran good. But the last couple of years, I feel like I figured that place out. So it takes a toll on you a little bit. I think a lot of those guys. I think a lot of people haven't realized a lot of those kids are they're actually grown-ups now, or mid-teens and upper teens, like Doug and Ronnie and even Ryan and those guys that are winning on a constant basis started real young. They started racing at 5, 6, 7 years old in go-karts. I didn't start racing until 16, so to me, I think that's a huge advantage. When I was younger, instead of racing like those guys were racing, I was riding quads and dirt bikes and going out sideways like a dirt car up in the cornfields like my uncle used to do up at Lebanon Valley. So I think that might have gave those guys a little bit more of an advantage, but I feel like, every time I go out there, I learn something new, and racing at Stafford weekly and at Thompson weekly for pretty much half my life, I think has helped me enough to get up there. And like I said before, this team, I think, they have the best of everything. Buzz doesn't skip around anything. The crew chief spot is at the shop like probably 10 to 12 hours a day. I call there some nights at 8:30. And he's still there, and that's huge. I've always said that, you win races at the garage. That's where it starts. So just how much, they work on the cars and the great equipment, and hopefully me being able to, show my talents, I can go out there and be the last piece to their puzzle to run up front weekly and finally get a win.
Now, your career best finish in the driver standings was 9th. What are your expectations from a points aspect this season?
Yeah, I feel like last year that as well as we ran during the mid-season, that our points didn't really show as good as we ran. I mean, we started off with 2 DNFs, and then we clicked off. I want to say probably the most top 10 out of anybody in the division. I think we were at one time we were rolling off. We rolled like 7 or 8 top 10s off. And then going into the Spring Sizzler, which was the second to the last race of the season, I think I was tied for 4th in points and 6 points out of 3rd. And the rear end broke there, and then we didn't run really good at the rear end broke like 5 or 10 laps into that race. That was the fall final. And then we went to Thompson, and we didn't have a good out there. So besides the first 2 and the last 2 races, I thought we ran really good. My best finishes of the year were a 6th and a 4th place at Riverhead, which you would think a lot of people, oh my God, Riverhead, we hate that place. We don't want to go there. And I try to go there as, you're positive thinking, and you're going to go there and win. Because if you go there with a negative attitude, that's what's going to happen. You're going to not run good there or get in a wreck. So I honestly think there's no reason why we can't finish in the top 5 in points. Maybe we could be higher, but I'm not setting my standards too high, because of the fact that 9th has been my best. I think we're going to prove a lot of people on the tour wrong, not so much wrong, but I think we're going to surprise some people. I think we're going to run better than most people think. And I think there's the majority of people that have been around racing and that are in the pit, I think they know that this is what I've been waiting for and that I'm going to be a threat. So I'd have to say, top 5 in the points, and I'd like to obviously get a win, but hopefully a couple wins, and maybe we'll be even higher in the points and can be contending for the championship there with 1 or 2 races to go.
Now, you're 34 years old. What else do you expect to accomplish in your racing career besides racing in the modified ranks?
Probably not too much. The way it is now, obviously, a lot of it is age and money, and it ain't the talent like it used to be. Like I pointed out before, my brother-in-law, or soon-to-be brother-in-law, there's no reason why he couldn't be down there, racing with Joey Logano or Larson or any of those guys. He just doesn't have the money. He had a chance and he was down there one time, and unfortunately they didn't have sponsorship the following year when he was going to run nationwide. So, I mean, that just shows right there that that's, pretty much what it takes now, and that was back in 2007 or 2008. So, unfortunately, I think it's a lot of money. It's a lot of, who you know, what your last name is. But if, like I said, if I can prove to myself and everybody else in the tour that I can run, up front in the tour, I have no problem doing that. Running up front, winning races during the season, contending for the championship like I pretty much have done with my SKs at Stafford and Thompson every year. Obviously, the dream would be maybe to be able to run like a truck, get in the big 3 and run a truck, and obviously if you can make a living doing that, but that's obviously far from probably reality. But like I said, if I could just keep doing what I've been doing and keep running up front on the tour, I'll be happy with that.
Now, how much would a championship in this series that you've pretty much dedicated the last few years of your life to mean?
Oh, it would be huge. It'd be, the biggest thing for me. For how much that's gone between my parents getting me involved in racing when I first started, their hard-earned money and going without so many things. I remember my mom going without a new vehicle just to keep me racing. When we first started, we did that for, the first 8 or 10 years, and I was lucky enough to get opportunities to get rides now where I don't have to own any teams and bring much. I bring some sponsorship, but not a whole lot. So I'm very fortunate to have, what I have. So to be able to go out there and win for them, for as much hard work that they did for me to get into the sport, and just, everybody, just all the teams that have helped me along the way, and just looking at the names that have won the Whelen Modified Tour Championship, I remember looking at Bobby's trophy at his house and seeing all the names that are on there, and even the past the last couple past names that are on there. Ronnie Silk is a good friend of mine. Bobby Santos, obviously, is a friend of mine. Doug Colby's on there. Ryan's on there. Just cool to see that, and then to go all the way down and see how many that Richie Evans won. To be able to have that sitting in your house would be, pretty happy. It'd be pretty cool to do. So obviously, as hard as I've worked the last 6 or 8 years to prove myself on the tour, finally this will hopefully be the year that I can do that and go out and prove myself. And I know that it would be a long shot to win it the first year with a new team, but we're not really looking at that. We're just looking at going week to week and going out there and getting the car as best as we can and qualifying as best as we can and being there at the end of the race to contend for the win, and the points will come there at the end of the year. So.
All right, it's now time for our illustrious rapid fire session. You ready to have some fun?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what this consists of, but.
All right, okay, let's get started. Basically, I'll say 2 things, and you respond with which one you prefer over the other, okay?
Alrighty.
All right, here we go. McDonald's or Wendy's?
Definitely Wendy's.
Rabbits or turtles?
Probably rabbit.
Dogs or cats?
Dog.
Pizza or burgers?
Pizza.
Italy or China?
Oof, never been to either one, so I don't know. Italy.
Bacon or sausage?
Bacon.
Danica Patrick or Ricky Stenhouse Jr.?
That's a tough one. It depends on which way you're looking at it, but I guess Danica.
Oh, well, I guess that makes it now 3-for-1 with people selecting Danica over Ricky. So now you, Andy Seiss, and Justin Bonsignor have both selected Danica, and the only lone stander that selected Ricky was David Calabrese. So I guess 3-1 now. I mean, David's not got much help over there. What makes you pick Danica over Ricky?
Well, obviously you have to look at it as what you're looking at it as a driver standpoint or as a like everyday standpoint, or I have to say if you're looking at well, I don't know, obviously for anything, even if you're a car owner, because she's going to bring you the sponsorship and the money and all that, but I think probably Ricky would possibly outdrive her, depending on what division it is, but to have the looks and the sponsorship and the money and obviously female, you got to take Danica.
Yeah, and remember, it's which one you prefer, not necessarily who someone else would prefer. But I said Danica a few weeks back myself. So 3-for-1 with drivers selecting Danica. So let's move into some more off-topic questions. I guess. So imagine that you just won the lottery. What do you do with the money, and it can't go into funding your racing team?
It can't go into funding my racing team, but if it go into funding another person's racing team, then I would definitely shoot for to try to get Bobby Santos in something down south. I think that he would definitely be able, if you could get him in. I mean, obviously it depends on how much money you won, but you know, obviously you're gonna probably save some for a house or whatever, take care of yourself. But I think that if I could get him down there and get him in something where he could compete and make a career of it and run week in and week out, I'm sure he would have no problem giving me the money back and then some. So, and I know that he could do it as long as we had, you know, a good team and a good sponsor and the best of equipment. There's no doubt in my mind he could go down there and kick everyone's ass. So that would be probably what I would do with it.
Now, I know you're engaged to Bobby's sister, I believe. So, what makes you? I'm not saying that I disagree or anything like that. I certainly think that Bobby Santos has a lot of talent. But what really leads you to believe that he can succeed in a NASCAR ranking?
Just being around him, seeing how hard he's worked. You know, I haven't been to the races a whole lot to watch him, but I got a couple of races on TV, watch him in open wheel stuff. I watch him in New Smyrna. He just, you could tell he has it. It's in his blood. It's what he loves to do. And I know he could do it. He can do it. He can pretty much drive anything. I seen him run a dirt modified on asphalt up in where the heck was it? It was way upstate New York. I forgot what the heck the track was called. It was almost in Canada. I watched from the infield, and it took him a little while to get used to it. But to see him wheel that thing around that track for the first time and adapt as quick as he did, and even that one time, you know, that he was running Jimmy Means' car at Daytona and crashed and pretty much wasn't going to have a ride, and Dale Jr. was nice enough to give him a ride because he knew his father was so close to Jimmy Means back in the day when he was alive that you know, he went out there pretty much just, it didn't even have the car and time trial trim or race trim. They pretty much just had it as a basic, you know, setup. He went out there, he didn't have no laps in it. Pretty much, okay, you just crashed, go out here and set a lap at Daytona, and he qualified 17th and ran in the top 10, and I think he ended up, at the end of the race, he was, I think, 17th or 16th, you know. But to go out there and do that, and then I know he was there, I think he was at Talladega or Daytona in the summer, and we watched him one year drive a car for Tommy Ball and race, and kind of did the same thing. Didn't qualify great, but was running in the top 5 and got caught up in a wreck. And I just know he could do it. I see how good he is with the modified. I saw how good he was when he drove Garbarino's cars, the poles and the wins that he got, and the championship that he won, and even with the Tinio bunch that he has right now. Those guys are a great bunch of people. But a lot, they'll tell you, you know, and just talking to them, a lot of them don't know a whole lot about racing. But for him to get in that thing and to go out there, and Steve LeMay knows what Bobby likes and set that thing up I know he could do it. It's in his blood and it's in his family, and Erica's just as good. I just know with her work and what she's doing right now, she can't really take a chance of racing. We would love to get her, back into an EMA or an SK Light or something, but if she was ever to get hurt, it would really be a burden on her for her work. So hopefully we can get her back in the seat soon, but I don't know. I might be biased because, he's going to be my brother-in-law one day, but just being around him for so long, I know he could do it.
Okay, so who do you compare your driving styles to? The comparison can be either a current or former NASCAR Sprint Cup Series competitor.
That's a tough one. I never really thought of that. Growing up, I wasn't huge into the modifieds. I did go, and but my favorite driver was Mike McLaughlin when he ran modifieds, and when he moved up to the Busch. I don't know if I'm really kind of a driver like him. I don't know. I feel like sometimes I'm not as aggressive as I should be, and other times I could be a little bit over-aggressive, but I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to think that one. That's a good question. I never really thought of that. I guess you could say Mike McLaughlin, but I don't really think that I've proven on the tour to win like he did back in the day, but obviously a lot has changed. Trying to think on the Cup who I'd be like. I don't know. Casey Kane used to win a lot of races, so I can't really say him because I could say he has no luck in the world and probably should win a lot more races than he has had in the past, but and he runs up front a lot, but I don't know. You tell me.
If we're gonna go with current drivers, I've like I said, I just watched the Fans Choice TV, so I haven't really seen you race that much, but I certainly, looking at your stats here, I would say somewhere with like a Greg Biffle or someone. It's not necessarily the driving, how well you finish. It's more of the driving techniques, and I think you have a lot of techniques within your driving capabilities. It's just it hasn't. There's been some unfortunate events that have occurred that have held you back from reaching your fullest potential. But I think the Casey Kane's a good comparison. You got a cool, loose kind of attitude. Seems like you're well liked. So I would go around somewhere with that. So the final question here. Your last name is pretty awesome. I think I'm pronouncing it right. Pitkat. And do you know where your native roots are?
I have no idea. We've talked about this time in and time out, and even Erica says, if I'm going to marry you one day, I need to at least know what your last name is. I don't know the heritage, or I don't know any of that. I do know running for the hills in past years and being down south with I guess you could call it the redneck bunch down there, and being in pit parties and stuff in those southern tracks. I've had a lot of people talk about the names. Oh, your name is Woody Pitkat. That's a racer's name, they would always say. So that's something that I still have to investigate and figure out here, but I have no idea what it is, where it came from. It's just my last name.
Okay, well that's going to end another edition of Interview Central. Is there anyone you'd like to send a shout out to, maybe sponsors, any family, friends? I would just like to thank everybody that's got me where I am today. Dave Rowe, he passed away. He was a big supporter of my racing that got me to where I am today. Bob Hitchcock, Kelly Iverson, all those people, Don King, David Hill, just everybody, my family, my girlfriend, my daughter who's so supportive of me, and my new teams, this year, the Secora family, that's Scavera family that I'm running for at Stafford, and obviously Bud Shoe for giving me the opportunity to run his modified tour car, and Spot for working so hard, and all those guys on the 88 team, and just looking forward to this year. I'm very excited to get going weekly here, and just looking forward to it. For joining us tonight. Remember to like Short Track Central on Facebook, and also share this video to your friends and family, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.